Again, good afternoon, everyone. Now we are at Chapter 5, the Curriculum Development, Reforms, and Enhancement. And for our Lesson 6.1, the Reform for Basic Education Curriculum will be tackled. Again, I am Arlene Candoza, your reporter for today.
Reform for Basic Education Curriculum. At the end of this topic, we will be able to gain comprehensive understanding for the K-12 basic education curriculum reform. Curriculum designer need to enhance the curriculum and propose curricular innovations to respond to the changing educational landscape in a country as well as other part of the globe. It is most necessary that as a future curricularist and a teacher, you should be familiar with what is happening and will happen in our curriculum. There is no substitute for being ready and informed. In this module, you will have the comprehensive knowledge on curricular reforms initiated in the Philippines and abroad to improve the quality of teaching and learning. Let's study them one by one. Content focus is that curriculum designer need to enhance the recommended curriculum, propose curricular innovations to respond to the changing landscape in education regionally and globally. Are you aware of some curricular reforms in the Philippines and other countries? Republic Act 10533, otherwise known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, is the latest educational reform in the Philippines education signed into law by President Benigno Aquino III last May 15, 2013. It is an act enhancing the Philippine basic education system by strengthening its curriculum and increasing the number of years for basic education, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. The Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, popularly known as the K-12, includes 1 year of kindergarten education, 6 years of elementary education, and 6 years of secondary education. This 6-year secondary education includes a 4 year of junior high school and 2 years of senior high school. With K-12, the existing 10 years of basic education is increased to 12 years with kindergarten education as a prerequisite to entry in grade 1. Why K-12? K-12 makes the Philippine education system at par with the international standard of 12-year basic education, thereby contributing to a better educated society capable of pursuing productive employment, entrepreneurship, or of higher education studies. After going to kindergarten, elementary, junior high, and a specialized senior high school program, every K-12 graduate is ready to go into different paths: higher education, middle-level skills development, employment, or entrepreneurship. The K-12 graduates are also expected to be equipped with 21st century skills like information, media and technology skills, learning and innovation skills, effective communication skills, and life and career skills. When K-12 was launched in 2012, many Filipinos were apprehensive because of the addition of 2 more years in secondary schooling. Some said the additional 2 years are added burden for the average Filipino family. Others said the K-12 program is doomed to fail since it does not address the basic problems in education like lack of classroom, chairs, books, teachers, quality teaching, and many more. Amidst criticism, the Department of Education pushed for the K-12 implementation. What could be the reason? Let's consider these existing realities in a Philippine education that become the basis of the K-12 implementation. Number 1. The mastery of the basic competencies is insufficient due to congestive curriculum. The table below presents the National Achievement Test result of fourth-year students in mathematics and science. In 2005 to 2006 mathematics results, only 15 of the students acquire mastery of the mathematics competencies, while majority or 59.09% of the high school students belong to the low level or low mastery level. The achievement result in science were even more discouraging since only 3% of the fourth-year high school students in 2005 and 2006 mastered the science processes and skills. Majority belong to the low mastery category and a few were in the near mastery level. In international examinations, the Philippines performed poorly as revealed in 2003 TIMSS or Trends in International Mathematics and Science scores. In grade 4 science and math, the Philippines ranked 23rd out of 25 participating countries. In high school science, the Philippines ranked 45th out of 46, and in math ranked 34th out of 38. Mathematics category in 2008 TIMMS, the country's ranking did not improve. In fact, it ranked the lowest among 10 participating countries. One of the factors that contribute to the low performance in achievement test is the congested basic education curriculum. What other countries teach in 12 years, the Philippines teach only in 10 years. The 10 years would not be enough to master the competencies. Adding 2 years would make possible and the congestion of the curriculum for comprehensive acquisition of the basic competencies in the 21st century skills. Second, the Philippines is the only remaining country in Asia with 10-year basic education program. The Philippines is the only country in Asia that has 10-year basic education program. The short duration of the basic education program also puts millions of overseas Filipino workers, especially the professionals and those who intend to study abroad, at a disadvantage. Graduates of Philippine schools are not automatically recognized as professionals outside the country due to the lack of 2 years in basic education. Bologna Accord imposes 12 years of education for university admission and practice of practice of profession in European countries. Washington Accord prescribed 12 years basic education as an entry to recognition of engineering professionals. With K-12, Filipino professionals would have the same competitive edge with professionals in other countries having gone through 12 years of basic education. By the way, the recommendation to improve and to lengthen the short basic education in the Philippines has been given since 1925. As one of the most well-studied reforms, recommendation of either adding or restoring 7th grade or adding an extra year to basic education have been put forward. The Table 5 shows researches on Philippine basic education curriculum and their recommendation. In year 1925, the Source Monroe survey recommend training of graduates students in agriculture, commerce, and industry because secondary education did not prepare students for life. In 1949, the UNESCO Mission Survey recommend restoration of grade 7 in primary education. In 1953, Education Act recommend revising the primary school system by adding 1 year or grade 7. In the year 1960, the Swanson Survey recommend restoring grade 7 in primary education. In the year 1970, the PCSPE recommend extending secondary education to 1 year to better prepare students who have no plans to take up university education. And in 1991, the EDCOM report recommend retaining the 10-year basic education phase while institutionalizing career counseling in primary and secondary schools in preparation for higher education. In the year 1988, the Philippine Education Sector Study or World Bank and ADB recommend prioritizing student learning through curricular reforms, the provision of textbooks, the use of vernacular in lower primary grades, and the institution of a longer basic education cycle. In 2000, the PCER recommend implementing a compulsory 1 year pre-baccalaureate stage as prerequisite for students interested in enrolling in higher education degree programs. In 2005, the Philippine EPA 2015 National Action Plan recommend lengthening the educational cycle by adding 2 years formal basic education one each for primary and high school. And in the year 2008, the Presidential Task Force on Education, extending pre-university education to a total of 12 years, benchmarking the content of the 11th and 12 years with international programs. One frequently asked question raised during the advocacy period of the K-12 curriculum was the Filipino student can do in 10 years what students to foreign countries do in 12 years. A number of our Filipino graduates who went through 10 years of basic education exceed in studies as well as in their place of work abroad. So why add 2 more years? This may be true, but for as long as the international standards in 12 years of basic education that will remain to be the standard and will apply to all including brilliant and exceptional Filipino students and graduates. In fact, there are cases where our Filipino scholars with master's degree who have to enroll in additional master's subjects before being allowed to pursue their doctorate degree applied for it. Why the additional master's subject? The reason given is the short 10-year basic education in the Philippines. In other words, the Philippines have no choice but to comply with the 12-year basic education. In the first place, this has been a consistent recommendation of past surveys done in the Philippines educational system. So let's move on to the employability of Filipino high school graduates. The K-12 curriculum prepares the student for the world of work, middle-level skills development, entrepreneurship, and college education. As early as grade 7 and grade 8, the students is made to explore at least 8 subjects in the 4 areas of technology and livelihood education or TLE, namely home economics, ICT, industrial arts and agriculture, and fishery arts. In grade 10 and in grade 12, the student is supposed to have obtained a national certificate or NC Level 1 and NC Level 2 from TESDA, NC1 and NC2 make grade 12 graduate employable. K-12 curriculums. Section 5 of the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 stipulates the following curricular standards which the curriculum developers adhere to in crafting the K-12 curriculum. The first one, the curriculum shall be learner-centered, inclusive, and developmentally appropriate. Second, the curriculum shall be relevant, responsive, and research-based. Third, the curriculum shall be culture-sensitive. Fourth, the curriculum shall be contextualized and global. Fifth, the curriculum shall use pedagogical approaches that are constructivist, inquiry-based, reflective, collaborative, and integrative. Next, the curriculum shall adhere to the principles and framework of Mother Tongue-Based Education or MTB-MLE, which starts from where the learners are and from what they already knew, proceeding from the known to the unknown. Instructional materials and capable teachers to implement the MTB-MLE curriculum shall be available. The curriculum shall use the spiral progression approach to ensure mastery of knowledge and skills after each level, and the curriculum shall be flexible enough to enable and allow schools to localize, indigenize, and enhance the same based on their respective educational and social contexts. The production and development of locally produced teaching material should be encouraged, and approval of this material should devolve to the regional and division education units. The core curriculum. Below are the learning areas comprising the core curriculum. The description is based on DepEd Memo 13 Series 2013. The senior high school curriculum. There are 4 tracks in senior high school. These are academic track, textbook track, sports and arts and design track. The academic track has 4 strands, namely science, technology, engineering, and math or STEM, humanities and social sciences or HUMS, accounting and business and management or ABM, and a general academic strand, which is the so-called GAS. This means that at grade 11, a student chooses which track to pursue, and if he or she chooses the academic, he or she must also choose which strand. If a student intends to go to college after grade 12, then he or she must take academic track. The college program which he or she wants to enroll in determines which strands to take, STEM, UMS, or ABM. If a senior high school student wants to pursue TechVoc, courses in Technical Education Skills Development Authority or TESDA, he or she takes the TechVoc track. He or she who is interested in arts and design will pursue the arts and design track. The sports track will be for any sports-minded senior high school students. The senior high school curriculum has a total of 31 subjects. The 31 subjects are grouped into 15 core subjects, 7 contextualized or applied subjects, and 9 specialized subjects. The following are the core subjects to be taken by all students regardless of track. There are also common subjects for different tracks and the highly specialized courses for each track. Under language, we have here the oral communication, reading and writing, komunikasyon at pananaliksik sa wikang Filipino at kulturang Filipino, pagbasa at pagsusuri ng iba't ibang teksto tungo sa pananaliksik. Under the humanities, we have the 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world, and contemporary Philippine arts from the regions. Under communication, we have here the media and information literacy or MIL, mathematics, we have general mathematics and statistics and probability. Under science, we have earth and life sciences lecture and laboratory, and physical sciences lectures and laboratory. In social science, we have personal development or pansariling kaunlaran, and understanding society and culture. Under philosophy, we have intro to philosophy of the human person or pambungad sa filosofiya ng tao, and lastly, the PE and health, the physical education and health. Below are the 7 contextualized subjects. The contextualized subject apply to all tracks and strands, but the subject are taught in the context of a track. For example, English for academic and professional purposes for the TechVoc track will enter to TechVoc terms, describing and reporting TechVoc, related procedure, while for the sports track, the English subject will focus on the language for sports. Research may be a presentation and defense of a paper in management for ABM track or in STEM, but may be a culminating activity or exhibit for the art and design track and end of term exhibit for the art and design track. Now let's move on to other descriptive titles for the 7 contextualized or applied subject for all tracks. Number 1, we have the English for academic and professional purposes. Number 2, Research in Daily Life 1. Number 3, Research in Daily Life 2. 4, Pagsulat sa Filipino sa piling larangan. Entrepreneurship. 6, Empowerment Technologies or E-Tech or ICT for professional tracks. And lastly, the research project or culminating activity. We have here the specialization subject, academic track, ABM. We have here the applied economics, business ethics and social responsibility, fundamentals of accountability, business and management 1, fundamentals of accountability, business and management 2, business math, business finance, organization and management, principles of marketing, work immersion, research, career advocacy, or culminating. Specialization academic track STEM, Pre-Calculus, Basic Calculus, General Biology 1, General Biology 2, General Physics 1, General Physics 2, General Chemistry 1, General Chemistry 2, and Work Immersion, Research, Career Advocacy, Culminating Activity. In HUMS, we have creative writing, creative nonfiction or literacy essay, world religions and belief systems, trends, networks, and critical thinking in the 21st century, Philippine politics and governance, community engagement, social participation and citizenship, disciplines and ideas in the social sciences, disciplines and ideas in the applied sciences, and work immersion, research, career advocacy, and culminating activity. For general academic trend, we have Humanities 1, Humanities 2, Social Science 1, Applied Economics, Organization and Management, Disaster Readiness and Risk Reduction, Elective 1 from any track or strand, Elective 2 from any track or strand, Work Immersion, Research, Career Advocacy, Culminating Activity. For sports, we have Safety and First Aid, Human Movement, Fundamentals of Coaching, Sports Officiating and Activity Management, Fitness, Sports and Recreation Leadership, Psychosocial Aspect of Sport and Exercise, Fitness Testing and Exercise Programming, Practicum in Campus, and Work Immersion, Research, Career Advocacy, and Culminating Activity. For the arts and design, we have Introduction to Applied Arts and Design Production, Introduction to Performing Arts, Understanding Elements and Principles of the Different Arts, Work Environment in Various Art Fields, Developing Filipino Identity in the Arts, Leadership and Management in Different Arts Field, Apprenticeship and Exploration of Different Art Fields or Production and Performing, Music, Dance, and Theater, and apprenticeship and exploration of different arts, designs, production in media, arts, visual arts, and literary arts. For the Take Action activity, my task is to conduct a survey on the teacher involved in K-12 about what do they like about K-12 curriculum and what they don't like about it. And the survey shows that what do they like most about K-12 curriculum is that it's a spiral progression in which students have no gaps in learning and provides mastery of subjects because of the additional years in the curriculum. Gives students enough time to master set of skills and competencies. And also, it begins from simple to complex. In terms of what they don't like about K-12 curriculum is that the lack of preparation, so many subjects that causing both student and teachers hectic schedules and additional years means additional teachers. And they suggested that to have enough time for the preparation, additional teachers, trainings, and workshops for teachers to be more competent. In activity 2, what do I know and what I can tell? At first, I was curious about this K-12 so that I'm a little bit excited and at the same time disappointed because of the 2 years addition on our time studying. But teachers always tells us that this serves as our preparation for college and also at the age of 18, we will be able to have a job if we don't want to enter college and plan to have a job first. And as for my experience, it is not really that bad because it really helps me a lot to gain more knowledge and be prepared enough in my college journey. Another activity given to me is if you interview teachers, parents, and students about K-12, what 10 ideas or concepts can you tell? I have here the list of 10 ideas or concepts that I can tell. First, we're last. As I mentioned earlier, the Philippines is the last country in Asia to implement the K-12 system. Our education system needs some upgrading and compared to our neighboring countries, which would be a factor to their education. It gives us more time to develop skills and knowledge that we can use not only when pursuing a college degree, but when entering the workforce as well. Second, gradual implementation. Though most of the interviewers said that K-12 is in rush, but based on my understanding and researches, the Department of Education started the implementation of K-12 program in 2011 to 2012 with a universal kindergarten. This means that formal education starts with Kinder 1 and Kinder 2 and that every child had to go through these levels before starting elementary. The third I, free, and free. Education is free because the major concern for most people, especially parents, is the cost of the 2 added years. It should it should be noted that kinder to grade 12 is for free in public schools, although there are additional indirect costs government agencies are working with organizations and sectors to provide programs which will help enable everyone access quality education, especially those below the poverty line. The fourth, employment without college degree. The K-12 programs now aim to teach students job skills along with the usual academic curriculum for high schools. This gives us better opportunity of learning something that we can use to start a career rather than going through a college course first before getting a job. The fifth is kinder is mandatory. Starting kids with a formal education system at a young age can dramatically help them through their elementary years, especially one that help develop the reading and writing skill. Mother tongue. Since there are about 13 indigenous languages in the Philippines, and the K-12 system aims to help students nurture their dialect by using it as a medium of instruction. Number 7, work with college and universities. Senior high school students will be able to take some classes in these higher educational institutions as well as use their laboratories for hands-on learning application. 8. Public and private. Public schools are not only ones that need to adopt the K-12 system. Private schools also need to adhere to the minimum standards of the K-12 program and join the progression. If they choose not to offer the senior high, students from private junior high schools will have to transfer to finish senior high school. The government's actively working to make the system. It's not just DepEd thing. It is to ensure that there will be laws and policies submitted to assist the program and even enhance it. And lastly, universities and colleges are not closing door for freshmen. And for our self-reflect activity, reflect on the statement below and comment. The K-12 is bound to fail because it is implemented hurriedly without thorough planning. So that's all. Thank you. Keep safe and God bless you all.